Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you to today's session on cognitive development, a key area within educational psychology. In this lecture, we will explore how individuals, mostly children, think, learn, solve problems, and make sense of their world. Understanding how cognition evolves helps us modify teaching strategies to different stages of development and create more effective learning environments. By the end of this session, you will have a clearer understanding of how cognitive growth supports lifelong learning and educational success. Let's begin with definition of cognitive development. What is cognitive development? Cognitive development involves mental process like thinking, remembering, reasoning and problem solving. These functions helps us understand the world and guide learning. For example, when a child learns to speak, solve puzzles or follow instructions, cognitive functions are at work. This development is rapid during childhood when the brain forms connection and observes information. Early education and stimulation are crucial for laying the foundation for future learning. Understanding cognitive development is vital for educators and psychologists to tailor learning environments. Now that we understand the basics, let's explore how two influential theorists, Jean Piaget and Levi-Vygotsky, have shaped this way we think about cognitive development. Piaget's theory of cognitive development, one of the most well-known figures in developmental psychology, is Jean Piaget. He viewed children as little scientists, naturally curious and actively engaged in building their own understanding of the world. At the heart of Piaget's theory is the concept of schemas. Schemas are mental framework children use to organize and interpret information. When they encounter something new, they either assimilate into an existing schema, adjusting the new information to fit what they already know, or accommodate, modifying or creating a new schema to better fit the new experience. Based on years of observation and research, Piaget proposed 4 universal stages of cognitive development. Sensory motor stage, birth to 2 years. Learning through senses and motor activities, developing object permanence. Pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years. Use 2 of symbols like words but egocentric thinking and difficulty with logic. Concrete operational stage, 7 to 12.3 years. Logical thinking improves with concrete problems, understanding concepts like conservation. Formal operational stage, 12 years and up. Ability to think abstractly, hypothetically, and use deductive reasoning. Piaget believed that each stage builds upon the previous one, but not everyone progresses at the same rate, but many not fully reach the formal operational stage. So, what does all of this mean in practical terms, especially for educators? Let's now shift to the educational application of Piaget's theory and how understanding these stages can help support students' learning more effectively. Applying Piaget theory in the classroom. So how can teachers use Piaget's theory in real classroom setting? Piaget emphasized that students learn best through active exploration. That means instead of relying solely on lectures or memorization, teachers should create opportunities for students to engage with materials, solve problems, and collaborate with peers. This includes using hands-on activities like experiments, puzzles, or manipulatives. Group discussions that allow students to share views and reason together. Developmentally appropriate challenges that push students just beyond their current level. What Piaget called cognitive disequilibrium. These methods associate with Piaget's belief that children are active constructors of their own knowledge, and that learning happens when they interact meaningfully with their environment. This interaction is not just physical but also mental. Students should be challenged to think, reflect, and question. Let's say we are teaching the concept of memory, specifically short term versus long term. First, instead of lecturing, we start a hands-on activity. We flash 10 random words on the screen just for 15 seconds, like apple, chair, window, and clock. Then we ask students to write down as many as they remember. Most students remember only 5 to 7 words. That's short-term memory in action. It has limited capacity. Now we divide the class into small groups for a discussion. What do you think? Some words were easier to remember than others. One student might say, I remembered apple because I had one at lunch. And other might say, I repeated chair in my head for few times. Now they are beginning to identify memory strategies without being explicitly taught. They are sharing ideas as a group and thinking about how memory shows up in their everyday life. This helps them realize that rehearsal and association are key strategies for encoding memory. Then we give them a challenge. We show an other list, but this time organized in categories: fruits, furniture, tools. After viewing it, we ask, did you remember more words this time? They perhaps did. This introduces cognitive disequilibrium. They are surprised by how organization improves memory. That small confusion, that wait, why did this work better? Feelings pushes them to rethink how memory works. They are now motivated to form a new cognitive schemas about learning and memory. They have learned by experiencing, not just by being told. This whole lesson reflects Piaget's theory. Students actively construct knowledge. Learning happens when they interact with ideas, not passively receiving them. And most importantly, real growth happens when we push just beyond what they already know. So next time you teach something like memory, motivation, or even moral development, don't just define it. Let students experience it, reflect on it, and be just a little confused. That's where the real psychology learning begins. However, while Piaget focused on independent discovery, and other psychologists, Lev Vygotsky, emphasized the importance of social interaction in learning. Let's now take a closer look at Vygotskai's socio-cultural perspective. Lev Vygotsky, a Russian psychologist whose ideas complement and contrast with Piaget's, Vygotsky believed that learning is fundamentally a social process. According to this theory, we develop cognitively, not isolation, but through interaction with more knowledgeable others such as parents, teachers, and older siblings or peers. One of the most important concepts in his theory is the zone of proximal development. This refers to the gap between what a child can do independently and what they can do with help or guidance. For example, imagine a child is sitting in front of a math worksheet. The problem says if you had 3 apples and someone gives you 2 more, how many do you have now? Now the child stares and it's stuck. If you just walk away, they stay stuck. But if you step in and say, okay, let's count together. You already have 3. Now let's add 2 more. Suddenly, the child gets it. Oh, 3 plus 2 is 5. That moment is an example of scaffolding. It's when a teacher or adult provides just enough help, not doing the task for the but giving hints, prompts, or structure so they can succeed on their own. Let me give you a real world comparison. Let's say a student is learning to write an essay. At first, the teacher provides a template, introduction, the body paragraph, a conclusion. Maybe they even give sentence starters. Over time, the student gets better and starts writing full essay with no template. That's scaffolding in action. It's not just about helping, it's about helping with a purpose. We give support, but we also know when to step back. Letting the learner take the lead, Vygotsky also emphasized the crucial role of language in development. He believed that private speech, when children talk to themselves, helps them plan, think, and regulate their behavior. Over time, this inner speech becomes part of self-directed thinking. Together, Vygotsky's ideas highlights how social interaction, language, and guided support play a central role in learning. Both Piaget and Vygotsky offer valuable insights into cognitive development. In today's section, we explored some essential perspective on cognitive development that helps us better understand how students think and learn. We began with Piaget's stages of development, which highlighted how children's thinking evolves from hands-on, concrete understanding in early years to more abstract logical reasoning as they grow older. Then we discussed Vygotsky's socio-cultural theory, which emphasizes the role of social interaction, language, and cultural tools in shaping cognitive growth. His idea of zone of proximal development reminds us how powerful guided learning can be, especially when spotted by peers or teachers. Each of these theories offers valuable insight not just into how students develop cognitively, but also into how we as educators can support them more effectively in a beyond the classroom. Thank you for your attention and thoughtful participation in this session. In our next lecture, we will explore deeper into cognitive development by exploring the information processing model and important concepts like self-regulation and executive function. Key skills that helps learners stay focused, plan ahead, and take control of their learning process. Allah Hafiz and goodbye for now.